Episode 105 of From Everyone. I'm here to learn something today from Shane Emery. Am I getting the last name
correct? You got
correct?
it correct, man. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Guitarist and Anthms, my man. Thank you for joining us here. Before we start, I'd like to get the plugs out of the way here. So my little cheat sheet. For starters, if you're looking for a music video in this year, unique and memorable music videos, let me know. I think the year is close to full or just about full, but please reach out because something will cancel before the year changes. That is the nature of this industry.
That's how it goes.
Who knows what the next whole month holds for me, but I think we're in good shape. Anthms here. A couple things coming up here. Festival in Danielson, Connecticut. It's a small town music festival, October 11th. You mentioned the headliner, and I'm forgetting who it was.
Yeah, it's Zach's playing acoustic for Man Overboard.
Sick.
Yeah.
Go see that October 11th, Danielson, Connecticut. The new EP is out October 17th. I feel very privileged because as we were recording this, it's not yet announced, but by the time the episode is out, it will be all public for everyone to enjoy. And of course, the new music video, Storm Chasing, is out everywhere right now. Go watch that. Go listen to it. I say this every episode of like, go watch that before you watch this. This time I mean it more than ever. I love that music video so much. Mark is just the most brilliant man alive. I want to start by like your first exposure to this music video, where it's one of those that like, as I watch it, it all makes a lot of sense to me. Yes. It all seems great. I can imagine the picture is like, all right, we're going to be weathermen and we're going to argue about who gets the weatherman job. And there'd be some part of you going like, all right, Mark, I trust you, but what the hell are you talking about here?
It was such, I've done a handful of music videos and it was easily the most unique, I think, pitch for a video, and definitely almost biting off more than we can chew in a sense, because we needed the location to be perfect. Mm-hmm. You need costumes to kind of work out without, spending $1 million on what you're wearing. And just kind of having it all line up, because if you do it poorly at all, it's just not going to come off like it makes sense, like you're planning for it to. So we knew that going into it, and we had all the costume stuff lined up. We went through pretty much the same storyline that it came out to be, changed some stuff here and there just to make sense. Originally, I don't think we were going to bring back the character Baggins for this, but we put that in towards the end to kind of tie it together with some of the past music videos and some of the lore that's been created within Anthms. And we got to the point where we're like, okay, we just need a spot. Yep. And we couldn't find a spot.
That is the hardest part of this. Yeah. That was the first thing that jumped out at me. Yes, I'll let you finish the story there. It seems like you found a beautiful spot and it all worked out. Yes. What was the process of finding the location then?
Yeah, so we kind of came together after a practice and we're like, all right, well, if we want to do this whole weatherman thing, because a lot of the song itself is a heavy song, lyrically speaking. And if we could have gone down that route where we made a pretty heavy video kind of to go with it and highlight the themes that are within the song. But we kind of want to take the fun route and make something, take a serious subject, but kind of play light to it. Obviously, Storm Chasing being the title of the song has nothing to do with actual weatherman or anything like that. We're like, what if we do this and have some fun with it and mix it up a little bit? And, we're like, okay, so we had everything set. We found a place, I want to say it's upstate Connecticut. I don't remember exactly where it is. And it's a news studio that you could just go and rent out and kind of do your thing at.
That's such a bizarre thing to exist.
We looked at it like, how is this a real thing? This is what we need. So emails, phone calls, no one's answering. Every day of the week we're trying something, or most of the weekdays we're trying something. Weekends, they're not even open. It's listed on Google. They're not open. So we're like, all right, what are we doing here?
How far ahead of the video are we at this point?
Oh, like a couple months, a month. Like we're closing in. We're closing in. So we're starting to talk about, all right, Mark came up with a plan B essentially of what we could do. I'm thinking, okay, well, are there any like local studios, like TV studios that just do their own programming? Could we get in there and make it look the same? We really needed the green screen and kind of the news anchor setup and everything, and nothing we found worked. And I called these guys finally, and the guy that answered the phone is like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. I'm like, awesome, that's fantastic. What do you need to do? He's like, I just have to forward it to the guy that's in charge. We'll be good to go. We'll call you back. I said, that's awesome. A day later, the guy that was supposed to call me back finally answered Mark's email saying, we're under construction until the fall. We're not taking anything. I was like, oh no, what are we going to do here? So we kind of hit a wall where that plan B started to come into almost fruition. We almost had to follow through with it. And Mark had a final idea. He has a friend that is still working, kind of using some facilities at University of Hartford. So long story short, we finally get them to say, this sounds awesome. We would love for you to use the studio. We get the okays from all the people higher up that are in charge. And one of the professors that kind of works with that studio is like, the only rule is I have to be here. Like, okay, as long as you're cool with it. We gave them kind of the rundown of how long it was going to be, what we were doing. They were amazing. and they saved us. They completely saved us. So Mark went, checked it out, made sure it was what it visually needed to be, took some pictures, and immediately when we saw it, we knew it was going to be exactly what we were looking for. And if they didn't come to us with the approval, we were dead in the water.
Wow. First off, power to them. Like, I think most of these locations are so hesitant to take a band on because bands have a bad rap and they have to presume this is Project X coming into the studio, right? Like, I know you guys. I know that you would use it responsibly. I would let you rent out my house if I had one to offer this apartment. But I understand from an academic perspective, from an insurance, from a liability perspective, like they have to be so terrified to take anyone on.
I don't know if I would have done it if I were in their shoes blindly going. I mean, we sent them, music videos we've done in the past and the songs and our online presence of how we try to, be as professional, even though we're not big time, be as professional as we can, just to show them what we're all about. And I think that helped for sure.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a lot of trust that goes into something like this. And we're very thankful and grateful that they trusted us to use it in a respectful way, which we did. I mean, everything we made sure it was literally identical when we left to when we got there.
Yep.
And it was a wonderful experience. They were very happy with the end product too, from what I know. And again, it was just a great kind of working relationship.
That's cool.
We got lucky. We almost had to scrap the whole thing and just move on to something else.
Unbelievable. How long how much time between approval and shoot was there? You mentioned there was a month where you're still talking to this plan A kind of thing, and then Hartford comes up as the last minute here.
I'm probably off by a little bit, but I want to say weeks. It was kind of down to the wire. Yes. I don't even know if we really went over what the plan B was. I think we were about to call it and say, all right, we're gonna shift over to this. And it was within days of that conversation that we actually got the thumbs up from them. So they saved us again. I mean, it would have been a cool music video, I'm sure, regardless. But we had a vision, and nothing bums you out more than
committed to that thing, and that thing needs to materialize. Yes. I empathize so much with the other piece of this, is like the budget aspect, right? It's like if there were a bajillion dollars, this is an easier problem to solve. But part of the problem is like, we can't go to the local WFSB and say, hey, we have $100,000. Can we please use this overnight while you're not using it, or something?
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. I mean, that kind of studio as well has to be very particularly set up and structured to be able to use it. And if it was just an empty space, we probably could have found somewhere. But again, to doctor it up and make it look like that would have taken so much money, so much time and effort and creativity that it's hard to do.
I've been in that same spot and had the thing fall apart. My favorite story here is that there was this one building. I was working with a video for a band called No IC, and we were looking for this like cabin. We wanted like a cabin in the woods kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what I ended up finding is this like wedding venue that was like a chapel, but it was built around trees. So inside of the building were these massive trees like growing out through the ceiling. And it was just this like visually stunning place. And I find it online for $50 an hour. And it's like,
that's nothing.
Easy,
that's
free.
Nothing.
That is as good as free. Please give me the entire day. Give me 10 hours here. Great. Let's rip it. I call the place and get in touch with the guy. And we go through this long call. And the guy is telling me all these things about how he was in local bands growing up. And he just kind of like seems like a guy who's going to be okay with us going in and doing our thing, and kind of knows what's happening here. Yeah, it's the same trust capacity here. It's like they need to trust us, and I do have the insurance and liability and all the paperwork to go with it, but they still need to believe that we're good people. So I feel him vetting me, and this goes on for like an hour of me just trying to sell us to the best of our abilities. And then finally he goes, awesome, so when can you send the deposit? And I go, great, just double checking. This was a number I saw online. 15 hours seems a little bit crazy. Is that accurate? And he goes, no, this is $5,000 an hour. And I was like, well, how? And he goes, well, we had an intern a year ago who was trying to get us more business here. She is no longer with us because she was doing crazy things. And so this was one of those where it took us forever to get in touch with him. And then, a week or two before the shoot, we learned that it's literally 100 times the price tag we were preparing for.
Dude.
And the only saving grace here for me is that I like to believe that there is a point of money where this goes away. I learned, and I'll abbreviate the story, there's a music video director named Cole Bennett who does a lot of like rap videos. And he was describing that they had a video that they were going to do in like an abandoned air yard. The week of the shoot, the air yard closes, and he has to go find another scrap yard for planes. And of course, this is a bajillion-dollar LA budget. They ends up finding on 48 hours notice. And it was one of those of like, oh, this is just music videos. Like music videos are just this thing of like, things happen real fast, and you would like to believe
maybe
there's a financial part where this goes away, and it just doesn't.
Nope.
Right? This is the permanent condition of what I'm trying to do.
It's almost oddly comforting though that people who are at that level still struggle with the location aspect or the story that they're trying to put together. So we're not. I feel less alone.
That was exactly my takeaway.
That.
Yes,
yeah.
And it is this thing. If you get attached to this thing, it doesn't have to be this. The music video could have been anything in the world, but once you guys have actualized this plan and flushed out this weather idea, it's like, no, we need this.
Yeah,
we need this.
We could have totally gone the darker route, which again, there's a lot of validity with doing something like that too, and just doing a performance video, which you know we're doing that as well for another song, and we've done that before. But just something about this just lent itself to we could do something fun with this.
100%.
And I'm glad we did. I'm so happy that we did. It was the most fun I've ever had shooting a video.
It came out incredible. And I think the other piece here, where as I like to think about what I want my music videos to be, I always come back to unique and memorable. Those are the two big things that it's like I want to hit both those boxes, and I don't care exactly how we hit them.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of things. That doesn't have to make it the Mona Lisa. It just has to be unique and memorable.
Yeah.
And I think this is the perfect example of like where the weather studio is so valuable here. It's like we've all seen this, and like beautiful. Like it is unforgettable. It is so identifiable and so has such a strong identity to it that I think makes this video so impactful. And you see it on social media as we're scrolling past it. It's like we're inundated with videos all the time.
Absolutely.
We've seen every music video in every capacity ever. And to make one that is unique and memorable is such an enormous challenge. And this location makes that it facilitates it so tremendously.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that it came off that way. I mean, that's again, and you go into the idea with like, I want to kind of make this for us and hope that other people enjoy it. But in the back of our minds as creators, whether it's videos, photography, music, all of the above, we obviously care what other people think. I mean, that's really what we're doing. We want to reach somebody. We want to show them something. We want to show off what we've created.
Yep.
And I mean, we do it for us, and we're so proud of what we've done. But we also want people to like what we create and find something unique about what we've created. So,
I think there's also a beautiful contrast here lyrically for Dante of like, it is kind of a dark song, but Dante does a great job of saying things in a poetic way where you have to like think about it for a second and you go, oh, that is kind of gloomy. Where at first listen, it sounds fine. And then you go, this isn't heavy. This is intense. This is resonating with me. And I think the contrast there is also a fun, beautiful way to do this. And the animations, there's a lot of layers here that I think Mark would be the expert to pick his brain on. But there is this beautiful contrast here that gets defined here. And I think the other piece of this is like, the goal of the music video is to make people watch the song, right? The goal is to have them scroll, stop, go, what is this? And then hear Dante's lyrics and get stuck on it.
Yes.
And that's where this thing really thrives. Like, you're right. You want this thing to thrive. We don't necessarily care if they love the music video. That is one piece, but the song is part we wrote. That is the foundation. That's the baseline that everything should tie back into.
Yeah.
And this is a great scroll stopper or something.
Thank you. Oh man, that means a lot to hear because
Beautiful.
It's like, that's what we were hoping for. Right?
This was your first time making a music video with them.
Second time.
Okay.
Did. I was in the Hawthorne video.
Gotcha. Yes. The skate park video.
It was, we were at, it was at a fort in Rhode Island, I want to say.
Okay.
It was like this abandoned fort, all graffitied up kind of thing. Kind of had that vibe to it.
Okay.
And it was just kind of a playthrough video with some shots of Baggins in different areas and stuff like that. But that was my first one with them.
Okay.
We had the Michelle Branch cover that we did as well. I was in that one, but that was just kind of playing at Shoreline and other, live shots and stuff. So we had that. But I'd say this was the biggest production I've had with them as far as a music video goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How was that process following them through? Where I think at some point everyone else in the band would go, okay, we trust Mark. We followed some crazy ideas. Like I think Baggins, I'm a huge fan of Baggins.
Love
Again, it is one of those of like on paper, crazy, and then it works out and it goes beautiful. This is the best anonymous thing that everyone can then put themselves in. And by taking away a human, you allow everyone to inject their own meaning and personality into him. And it's a beautiful character. I think the rest of the guys would have been comfortable trusting Mark on this. There must have been a moment here where you see the weatherman, you go like, all right, I'm going to follow this because everyone else is following. I don't want to rock the boat here, but
I don't know. I'm going to be honest. Like the thing that makes me in a unique spot is I was a fan of Anthms before being anywhere considered to be an Anthms. And, my other band played a ton of shows with them. I would go to their shows just to kind of check it out. And a lot of the shows I went to in the area, they would be there hanging out too at Toad's Place and things like that. So I got to know them a little bit. And again, seeing what they created, I trusted it completely. And just to be able to be involved in it, I was excited. So it's a crazy idea, right? The weatherman thing's kind of crazy. And, the idea of Baggins could flop, right? It could be something that's difficult. And I grew up a big Wonder Years fan, and Hank the Pigeon was like the fact they have like some sort of mascot is kind of cool in my opinion.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of bands regionally do that anymore or at all. And I think it's, does it make us better or worse? It just makes it different. And I love that. And I love, as you said, like it's a person, but it's not a person. It's you, it's your friend, it's whoever you want it to be. And it just allows you to kind of place yourself, I think, in the words of the song and how this character that could be anybody kind of fits into it.
Yes.
So yeah, as crazy as it might look on paper, I truly had full trust in the entire process. Mark is a genius when it comes to just figuring out what a set is going to look like, putting the lights together. Obviously it's his profession, so he takes it so seriously in a very good and positive way. And it's a great experience for me to go through too, because in past bands, we've taken it seriously, but this just takes it to a professional level that I haven't gotten to experience before.
Yeah.
And I respect it so much. I love everything about it.
Yes. And it also makes it so easy to buy in when it's evident how much care everyone else is putting in, that it's like, oh, okay, this is how much care I'm also going to put into this.
Yes.
I think the segue here is into writing the EP, and the EP is called Does It Ever Get Better? I had this on my notes here, and I wasn't sure I wanted to bring it up, knowing whether or not the EP was out. But I will say, yes, Mark, I saw the name of the news outcry, and I go, those letters must mean something. And then I have, what is it? And TJ's weather forecast, there's like the It Gets Better under the raining thing. Then Mark's weather forecast, there's like a red alert on the top, and It Gets Better. And I'm sure there's other ones that I missed in there. But it was fun to sift through the pieces here and go, okay, I see what you guys are doing here. It's beautiful that you were a fan of the band, that you get to join this process and kind of appreciate all this. I assume that writing the EP is a similar challenge here. Like you want to come in and joining a band, to me, like I'm not musical. I'm an ass at music, and it's not my gift. I enjoy it. I love the hell out of it, but creating the music is not the part of it that I thrive in. I love consuming it. I love all the secondary aspects of it, the music video part of it.
Of course.
But actual instrument's not my strength here. I would assume, though, that joining a band is a really tough thing here, where as a fan of the band, you have a great appreciation of what they could be and what they are. You also know, like, these guys are the thing, and I want to come in and I want to put Shane in this. I wouldn't join the band and just be anonymous in this, but I also don't want to rock the boat here. And I assume the music video is easy to say, you guys do it.
Yes.
Once you're playing on the songs, there's a little bit more ownership here that is up your alley, where the visual side is someone else's problem. The guitar is not someone else's problem. That is very much your baby that I assume has been a part of your life for a very long time. Talk to me about joining the band here and kind of, trying to put your 2 cents in and balance, honoring the anthems that you know.
What a wonderful question. That was fantastic. So I think, again, being a fan, I think, is a blessing and a curse in some way.
Yeah.
Where a blessing in the sense that I get to play with the people that create the music that I love to just listen to on my own. The curse is, how do I help contribute to that without putting too much of my own spin on it, or not doing enough, just finding that middle ground. And I will say 100%, they are the most welcoming group of individuals on planet Earth. I love them. I'm so happy that I'm at this level with them. And it was very easy to segue into that part of things. Caleb was a wonderful guitarist. I feel bad because every time he's at a show, I'm like, I know I'm not playing it the way that he wrote it. We kind of joke about that here and there. And I think it was easy to kind of learn the songs as they were and, maybe put my spin on one part, whatever the case may be. But with this one, I was writing majority of the lead parts. There were a couple songs that existed prior to me fully joining. So there were some parts of some songs that were already kind of hashed out and we kept because they just sounded fantastic. But Dante even says, like, listen, if you want to change anything, change it. I was like, no, this is Anthms. Like, this sounds great. And I remember what I was most worried about was a song I don't believe that actually made the cut for this EP. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember it existed. And I remember this was kind of like my first test, so to speak, without it being spoken by myself or anyone. I don't know if they felt this way, but I certainly did, of like, hey, here's the track, write some leads. And I was like, okay, all right, anthems. Let's write some anthems. How do we? So I tried to make it sound like them, but also putting my own kind of touch on it. Because again, if I'm going to be in something, I want to bring something to the table. And I sent it, and everyone's like, okay, sounds good, like awesome. There were no like harsh reactions either direction. I'm like, okay, that's a good sign. And I forget how far after it was. I was having a very similar conversation with Dante, and he's like, yeah, man. As soon as you sent that, I was like, oh no, he's good. Like this is gonna work. So I was like, okay, thank God. Like I can fit the vibe of what they do and add to it and put my own kind of take on it. So with these songs, I was able to really get into that. I've played guitar for many years. I am not a great guitar player by any means. I took lessons when I was a kid for a little bit. The theory thing has always gone over my head. I try my best to understand it. It's just my brain is not mathematical. Okay. So I struggle with that. But I play a lot by ear. I mean, that's how I pretty much learned everything. And when it came time to, really kind of hone into this, I felt comfortable bringing that to the table and saying, okay, I can make this work. I can come up with some parts that are going to make sense for them. Again, taking that step back and saying, as a fan, would I like this? Mm-hmm. So I was able to kind of bring that up, it was good. I really enjoyed this writing process and recording process, and it's my first time playing lead. That's the big thing for me. So every band I've been in, for the most part, I was a rhythm player. Mm-hmm. So I was the idiot jumping around, doing all the crazy stuff, and just lay down the rhythm and let the rest fall into place. But this time I'm taking that lead spot, and it was new for me, and I was worried about that on a personal level. And I hope I brought justice to what Anthms has done in the past, and can hopefully continue to grow myself and get a little better. I'm
sure they wouldn't have welcomed you with open arms if it wasn't a good fit. So I'm excited to hear it, but also very confident that it is. Yeah, it'll be everything you hoped it would be. The leap to playing leads there is an interesting one to me, where it is kind of like two separate brains that I think tend to gravitate towards each role in the band. And I think obviously we don't have two separate brains. I'm speaking in very much, I guess, hyperbole. I don't know if that's exactly the right use of the word there, but sure, it sounds good to me. Whatever, who gives a fuck? I'm curious then, what makes you make that leap towards playing leads then, where it sounds like you found a lot of comfort in rhythm, and that sounds like a home and just how your brain would be wired to operate. And now making the leap here seems brave. And I guess if they're saying, go for it, we trust you, then you have to say, well, I guess I trust me too.
Yeah, which is hard. The hardest thing to do is trust yourself in some circumstances, I feel. It was one of those situations where the band I was in, I knew was kind of on its way out. Mm-hmm. And it was a project that I had started and I loved very much, so I still do to this day. And I knew that it wasn't going to be around forever. And I saw that there was an opportunity with playing leads and anthems. And I sat on it for a little while, not because I was unsure if I wanted to make the jump to a new band, if I wanted to play in the band that I love to listen to, but did I have the confidence to do it justice? Yeah. And, it was one of those moments where I'm like, I'm 34 years old, right? It's like, I grow up and do it. Like you have played long enough where you know what you're doing and you can put the time into it because you care about it and you can dedicate yourself to it and stop second guessing yourself. And it was really kind of a leap of faith on my side. And I was telling myself that. I don't know if I was convinced of that, but I did my best to show up and learn the parts and get comfortable. And now I'm able to move around a little bit on stage again and kind of get back into my pocket of like having fun at the live shows and stuff. And I am feeling so much better about it. So it was a process. I'm still working on it, but
that's the way processes go. And I can identify on the sense of like submitting treatments for videos, where I think my equivalent here is like, I'm kind of always joining a new band, right? In the same way that you're thinking about, well, how do I honor anthems and still put my own 2 cents in this? Like when I'm writing a treatment for a band, it is a similar thing of like, I know what they are. I think I know what I am. I'm still figuring out kind of both of these, I guess. They're probably still living and breathing conversations that I'm having with myself. But there is some sense of, I want to do what they have done, but if all I do is recreate their past stuff, then I'm not adding any value here. Yeah. But I also don't want to make this 100% Peter, because they're not 100% Peter, right? My job is to be the 6th person in this band kind of thing. And it is this scary leap of like, how much of this do I take a chance on? And I have to come back to kind of where you came back to, of like, I just kind of got to trust that I've done this enough times that it will go well the next time I do it. And it is this leap of faith of like, I don't know. I think I like this idea, but I don't know if I like this idea, if I think they like this idea. And how you piece together these two worlds is such a tough dance to have sometimes. It
truly is. And it's kind of on the back end, once it's done, it's kind of a fun thing to look back at and be like, okay, like I did it. Like that's such a confidence booster and proving to yourself that you're capable of being that 6th member or whatever the case may be. And I mean, again, I'm still practicing that to this day. It's always been, I think, a shortcoming of mine to kind of sell myself short in certain situations, especially when I want to make sure that they're happy with what I'm creating and what I'm doing, and that I'm again doing the brand that they've created justice. Yeah. Because I've said it to them. I'm like, I'm walking into your home. Like I want to make sure that this is very fitting for what you guys expect and are doing, and I feel it very cohesive with everything now. So it's been probably almost a year and a half, 2 years, somewhere in that range since I've joined. So it's it's settling in a really positive way. And I'm very proud of everything that we've done.
Beautiful. Yeah, they are kings. And I think they have a beautiful home that they have built and
Yes.
maintained. And I can imagine that walking there would be stressful here. I think the part of like struggling to trust yourself, I think is an interesting little piece here of like, is this, I guess in a very general question, feel free to be as brief as you would like here. It's
Sure.
like, is this specific to music or is this a life thing? Where I think,
life thing.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, that's always like, I'm an anxious human being. I always second guess things. That's just been where I'm at for most of my life
Same.
with every
Yes.
situation. Like, and I think I think a lot of people are like that and don't talk about it. You know, I think it's a very normal thing. I just happen to play music, so it manifests in that sense as well.
Is it better or worse in music? And I guess what I'm getting at here is like when I grew up playing soccer, and to me, soccer, I feel like I was never anxious because it was my lizard brain taking over and my like cognitive brain, whatever, my conscious brain was absent in that process. And it was just like this autopilot freedom that I would go into. And I wonder if that was also just like a factor of youth where maybe at 16, I wasn't quite old enough to be self-conscious yet. Where at 25 now, if I was still playing, maybe I would have that. But it is an interesting thing to me of like, in that world, I was an anxious person my whole life, but in that world, it didn't apply to me somehow.
Yeah.
And then in this world, it does apply to me. And it's not that I love one of them differently. It's just somehow the way that my brain interacts with them. And so the way that our brains, have these anxiouses and stuff, I think some people find music is like their safe space outlet where all of a sudden writing a song is not stressful for them anymore, where the rest of their life is turmoil, but somehow in this bubble, they feel okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any sense of like, is music more bad or less bad in terms of the stress for you?
Less, for sure.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where maybe it goes to the soccer thing too. It's a team activity. It's a team sport. And I think I'm anxious when I'm thinking of my part in it. But when I bring that to the table, I feel a lot better about things because it's, if one of us messes up on stage, the other one's going to cover for that person and they're not going to ask any questions about it. It's just, that's how it works.
Yeah.
And, I think that I'm anxious until it's happening. I'm like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I'm so fortunate I get to be a part of this. I still get nervous for shows, whether there's 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, I still get anxious about it. And then we play the first note or chord. I'm like, all right, here we go. Like we're all on the same team. We all got each other's backs. We're all going to mess up at some point. Like it is what it is. With writing stuff, if you write something that doesn't work, you just write something else and you take the criticism and you figure it out. And I think it's better in that part of my life and that part of my world because we're all on the same page.
Yep.
So again, the anxiety that I might bring to the decision making is just me, has nothing to do with anybody else.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of like the soccer thing. You just turn that part of your brain off without meaning to, and it's like, okay, I know I'm covered. So I don't know. That's kind of how I think about it, but I could be wrong.
How are you managing anxiety pre-shows here before you get on stage? Is there a mantra you come back to? Is there a happy place you come back to? Is there yoga that you're trying to do? Like what is the tactic here in the hour before show? And I'm sure it's for me, it's one of those things that like exponentially rises, and then you're right. With 1 second into the set, it all dissipates. But there is this ramp up of like when I wake up at 8 a.m., my brain goes, "Ooh, there's something later today," and then by 6 p.m., it's like, "Oh, it's here," and then at 6:01, it's like, "Oh, vibe it, life's good."
Yeah, it's so funny that you say it that timeline, right? Because that's how, like I'll wake up and like let's just say I'll go to I work at a school. I'm a teacher. I go to school. I kind of do my thing, and then when it's done, it's like okay, time to get into show mode. I'm like, oh, it's happening. Like I'm feeling anxious. And then I think by the time we set everything up and we're standing there and we do a sound check, I'm like, all right, let's roll through this. I don't really have, I guess, a process I go through. It's, I have a 2-year-old. I think of him. I'm like, he would be so happy to see this right now. Like that's kind of the thing that helps me so much more recently. I don't know. I think it has to do with the fact that, again, everyone's there for a good time. Everyone's there to enjoy themselves. If you make a mistake, odds are they're not going to notice. And if they do, it's going to be over 5 seconds down the road. So as I've gotten older, that anxiety around shows, it still exists.
Yeah.
I don't think it ramps up as much as it used to because I'm coming to that realization that like, hey, like we're all here to have a good time and have fun, and you don't need to impress anybody. You're here to do something that you love to do.
I come back to that as well of the amount of people that are here and they're not here because of me or because of you. They're here for a lot of different reasons and probably for a different band entirely is the honest answer oftentimes. But there are a lot of people here having a good time, and they came here to have a good time. And to me, it's like, it's a beautiful thing that we are a part of the thing that brought these people together. And somehow that gives me a lot of peace here of like, I'm shitting myself, but everyone came here to have a good time. Who the fuck am I to be the squeaky wheel on this good
let's have a good time
party?
Right. I think I realized that years ago. The last band I was in, we were on a tour and we were playing outside of Chicago, I want to say. And I had booked the show. I was very proud of it. I'm like, all right, hopefully this works out. And at one point it was before we went on, like 2 bands before we went on, I took a step back in the room and it was just filled with people. I'm like, I've never met any of these people. I will probably never see any of these people again. And yet we're all here on a random Thursday night because they wanted to come support some random band from Connecticut and a bunch of their friends. And like, they're not there to see us, but we're going to have a good time with this. And I was like, this is what it's all about. I mean, whether it's at home, it's away from home, you're supporting a friend who's doing it, people are receptive to a video that you've created, whatever, people listen to a podcast. It's just, it's the fact that you can create something that people will eventually hear, be surrounded around, like be near. It's just a unique thing. It really is. It's just, it's, again, I think that helps too, is that knowing like we're all there to enjoy this in some capacity.
I come back to that same logic here of like, this is what I do full time, right? I'm so grateful that my job is often the best day of someone's week, month, year. Like, it is a very rare thing. And of course, there are plenty of other jobs that serve people in need. And I'm so grateful those people exist. It was very heavy for me to be a part of the worst day of people's lives. And I had some of those jobs where I felt like that was my job, was to be there at the moment of crisis. And to some degree, I feel like I'm playing dress up. And I hope that when I turn 50, I go back to these moments and serve people in need. Me as a 21-year-old was not ready to handle this weight, to carry that burden with me. And so that's where this became the perfect outlet. And it's still kind of, again, I feel like I'm playing dress up at a time where it's like, I'll grow up someday. I'll be a big boy someday. But for the moment, I'm going to keep enjoying that I get to be a part of the highlight of someone's whatever, whether it is, music video, the shows. Like, the music video is, hopefully an exciting part. Like you were talking about, I was shooting with Mark. It's like, that was the thing you were looking forward to forever. And whether or not anything after that is kind of irrelevant, or not irrelevant, but a secondary perhaps. So like, you had 6 months of, this is going to be cool. And that wind in your sails is worth something. And to me, it's like, before I've even gotten to set, I've given you that. And then afterwards, hopefully, the thing goes cool and you can show your friends and you feel validated of like, hey, look, I'm not a fucking loser still playing guitar. I'm cool. I'm cool, guys.
Look how awesome this came out. It's, you know, and I think that's like identity thing I struggle with too, is like, you know, all the friends that I grew up with in high school and college that play music, most of them don't even touch their instruments anymore. And here I am, almost mid-30s, still doing it. And I'm like, should I not be doing this? Like but again, like I'm surrounded by guys who are close to the same age, who love what they do. It's a hobby that I don't ever want to end. I thought about it for a while prior to joining Anthms. Like I could just stop. I could sell my stuff and make a couple bucks off of it and maybe keep one guitar and like a little amp and like I could still play here and there. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It's just, there's nothing, I don't care how old you are, there's nothing wrong with a creative outlet, no matter, as long as people are safe around that outlet, it does not matter. I think music is beautiful and perfect, and it doesn't matter how old or young you are. If you want to create it and enjoy it, you have the right to create it and enjoy it. I'm
curious how your son impacted this here. I think that the conversation I've had on here, and I'm kind of summarizing 6 different conversations into one here, but the gist that I've gathered is like, I don't have kids myself, I guess maybe it's an important preference here. But like the commonality here, the outsider's perspective here would be like, you have the kid, you hang it up. And what I heard someone say that really resonated with me is like, no, I had the kid and went, I don't want this kid to see me hang something up. I want this kid to know that I'm going to do what I want to do that makes me happy and whatever fulfills me, so that hopefully when they are 8, when they are, I guess at 2, he's conscious, but still kind of
still exploring kind of everything.
Here. But I hope that by the time he is in 4th grade, 5th grade going, hey, I think I like this thing that's kind of taboo. I don't know if I should go be in the plays or whatever the thing is. And then you can go, no. Because I'm doing it. And you have to lead by example here. Was that kind of a similar trajectory here for you of like the kid almost empowered you to keep going? Yeah,
it was such a weird thing because I knew I'd have to take time off from everything, especially initially, right? And that was easy because I was so in love with this idea of having my son and being a part of his life from day one, as you know, as much as he would allow me to be pretty much as a little kid, right? And I have such a wonderful support system. My fiance, even said, she's like, I don't want you to ever stop. And she said this, she's like, I want him to see you do something that you love. And I'm very fortunate through and through from every aspect of my life. I'm very, very fortunate. And I think that was a driving force for me because, you know, at a really young age, like infant to like 1, like he doesn't know what I'm going to a band practice. He just doesn't recognize that. But now at like 2.5 years old, he loves watching the music video. He loves listening to the songs in the car. He asks for it to be put on.
That's fun.
It makes it feel so much more real now. And it makes me feel proud that I'm creating something for him that maybe he'll love this. Maybe he'll hate this style of music when he's older. Maybe he'll love it. Maybe he'll want to play it. He loves to sing. He loves to play his little drum set that he has. He loves to play his little guitar. He has
probably a better drummer and guitarist than I am.
He's probably better than me. He can hold a beat like no other, and he has really good tone and rhythm and tempo. And I'm like, I don't know if I contributed to that. I'd like to think I did, but it's just such a remarkable thing to see. Yeah. And like he just loves music right now. And I think music's so important. We take him to the local library. He does like the music classes there every, month or so. And it's just like, I didn't have that as a kid as far as like music in my face right away. It took me till I was a little bit older. My uncle plays bass still. And I remember he left his bass guitar at my house one day, like under the guest room bed or something like that, or my brother's bed, whoever's room it was at the time. And I just remember opening it. I'm like, that's really cool. It'd be like 6 years, I don't know. And I think that's where it started for me. So if I can give that back to my son and he loves it, that I don't care what he's into. I just want him to find something he's passionate about, whether it's sports, theater, music, photography, just something creative that he can be passionate about. I want him to have full access to it as best as I can supply it for him. And I'm thankful that I'm creating something that he can look at when he's older or even now and be like, I like that. And even if it doesn't like, he sees that I'm doing something I love, like you said. Yeah. And that's so important. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have that with my parents. My younger brother got into sports and things like that. And we've had our passions and we've been supported. My parents, if they're able to, they still come to shows, which is awesome. I'm very, very lucky and fortunate. I just want to pass that on to my son a little bit.
That's a beautiful perspective. Yeah. I think that's life wisdom. I think we can all hope to have a parent that is that nurturing, that caring. And I think that's all you can do, right? Is hope to provide him with a source of happiness that he can explore in whatever that is. And whatever that is, I think it's this massive spectrum of like, I think we all go, well, he's going to do exactly what I do. And it's like, maybe there's a
not.
good chance he doesn't.
And that's okay. And that's fine. And again, I'm new at this. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. I think as every parent kind of is. Yeah. Again, when it's all said and done and he is kind of settled into the things that he loves to, I just hope he finds something that he can be passionate about, and I will support him every day of the week that I can. I mean, I'm very happy to do that. So.
That's beautiful. You had a beautiful segue built in there of discovering the bass at 7 years old to me. I like to try to touch on where this journey starts, and you gave me the perfect spawn
I didn't even mean to. Look at that.
Here. Talk to you about that. So before that, I guess, with music in your household, was this music kind of taboo? Were you already like listening to Sum 41, Blink at the time?
Yeah, my parents always listened to music. It wasn't like the upfront and like in your face, like they didn't go to like concerts and stuff like that, and they didn't play music themselves. But like my dad would listen to like the modern rock stuff. My mom listened to radio hits and things like that. But my uncle was really the one that got me realizing that I could make that stuff. Yep. And I think that was the jumping point for me. When I was maybe 7th or 8th grade, he bought me my first acoustic guitar. Beautiful. And he got me one of the books to kind of learn how to read music. And he would come over every week, every other week, and just sit down with me and like one string at a time, kind of learn the first 3 to 4 frets and what's what. And, eventually, like a year or two later, he bought me my first electric guitar, which he was like, I'm not going to get you one. You have to master this first. And then I walked up my room. It was there. I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. Is this little red Ibanez. Dude, it literally was like this little red. There's a picture of me just like in shock, I think, as I walked into the room and saw it. And it was like, it's nothing special. It probably cost like maybe $80 back in the day, but like that was life-changing. It was life-changing. I learned how to change strings on a guitar. I learned how to use an amplifier for the first time. Like all these things that you don't really think of now, having done it for 15, 16, 17, however long it's been. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things it was really cool. And then eventually my parents and him, I think, helped pay for lessons at a local guitar shop in town. I did that for a few years. And then I just kind of in high school was like, I met other people that played guitar. I would go over to their house and see what they learned. And I'd try and learn some of that stuff. And then eventually it turned to writing. I joined my first band at, I think I was a sophomore or junior in high school.
Okay.
And it was like, hey, play this like thing happening at the school kind of stuff. And eventually we weeded out the ones that really wanted to do it versus the ones that were just kind of like doing it for a little hobby. And 4 of us got together our senior year and we played everywhere in Connecticut that we could. We won a random battle of the bands at the Space in Hamden when it was around. And we just kind of kept going and doing our thing. And then we got to college and they kind of stopped, unfortunately, and I kept going. I joined a post-hardcore band. It was my first segue into like heavy stuff. And then I got into the pop punk stuff, and now I'm kind of in that emo pop punk post-hardcore mixture that we've created with Anthms. And it's like, I think back to all those silly things. Had I not done any of that, and the funny, like when I teach juniors and seniors, so they always ask about music and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had one kid recently say, "Why did you want to start playing guitar?" I'm like, other than my uncle being a musician, I wanted to learn the James Bond theme song. Yep. That's why I wanted to play guitar. That's why. Yep. I've never learned how to play that song to this day. But it's so funny that want to learn this stupid little one line kind of thing led to me doing this still.
I refuse to believe that you couldn't play that right now. If
I could maybe I could figure it out. Be embarrassing if I can't figure it out by now. All these years I never learned it.
If one of these guitars was in tune and had strings, I was less than 5 years old, I would put you on the spot right now.
It's so funny, man.
It's funny. This thing, I've never used all the functionality on it.
Yeah.
It can take a guitar input.
Okay.
I'm not literally gonna figure out the spot right now, but mostly because those are so old. I swear on my life, if one of those still got played in the last 6 years, at this point they're decorations more than anything.
If I come back one day, I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to figure it out. No, I think just like the story itself is hysterical. That's where it started. And it was, again, between wanting to learn from my uncle who had the instrument in the house and then wanting to play the James Bond themes. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. But I often think about, had those thoughts and wants been suppressed or not, nurtured in any way, what would I be doing right now? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, what would my creative outlet be? And there's millions of things that you could do, but I'm very, very happy and proud of what I've done with the music stuff. Mm-hmm. And again, if I can make it to 80, I want to keep doing this by the time I'm 80. You know what I mean? Like, I love being a part of this.
It is one of those healthy outlets that you can do till 80.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. Do you remember your first show here?
Oh man, like with Anthms or just in general?
In general. I want to go to the high school. Yeah. Dude. Give me the dog shit, whatever battle of the bands. What'd you play? Yeah.
It was I don't remember what club it was for, but it was some club was putting on a show. Okay. And my friend's band.
Just to be clear, club, we mean like high school club.
High school club, like
club,
yeah, something like that.
Whatever,
yeah, something, whatever it
yeah.
was. Yeah, it might have been like Amnesty International or something of the sort. And they were hosting a show in the school auditorium my senior year. And it was either junior or senior year, but regardless, my friend's band, who was established in the high school scene, if you will, because that's the extent of where the scene went, was in a band called Flashbang.
Talk about a small pond.
Yeah, right. It's literally tiny. And they did like they would do like Van Halen covers and then write their own kind of heavier stuff in like the progressive sphere and like things of that nature. And they were fun. Like they were good. They would get the crowd kind of moving around. And I was like, I want to be like them. Like those are like my friends are in the band. I could do that too. And then the band I was in was called Vincent's Late Arrival, but we shortened it to VLA because acronyms were cool back then.
Yeah. One of the V's was probably upside down.
Exactly. Yeah, probably, right? And it was, nothing with like the shirts we made were not anything to do with the name. And it was such a hodgepodge of stuff, but it was fun.
The most high school band of all time.
That's it.
Yep.
And we named it after our guitarist, who's still one of my best friends. He's going to be in my wedding, John Vincent, because he was always late coming to practice. So we named it Vincent's Late Arrival. And I remember my other really good friend, Dan, who's also my wedding, my friends are still the friends I had in high school. I love them.
Yeah.
And we were setting up his drums because we were going on like right before Flashbang was headlining. We were going right before them. And he was setting up the drums. And I just looked out at the crowd, which could not have been more than like 25 people, 30 people, like maximum, right? Yep. And I looked out and I turned to Dan. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I was the singer of that band. I played guitar. So like, I kind of fell into that position because no one else wanted to do it. And I'm not good at singing. Like I'm a bad singer, but I fell into that position because no one else would do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And we're setting up and I'm looking at him and I'm looking at John. Our other buddy, Emmett, was our bass player, who again, still close friends with him too. And I'm like, guys, I don't know. Like specifically Dan, like I'm putting his like drum down. I'm like, dude, could we quit now? Like, do we have to do this? And again, one song in, I'm like, I don't think I could ever not do this. It's very addicting in a sense. And I think it's a fair addiction. I don't think that's a bad addiction per se, but it was just this adrenaline rush of I've created something. I'm showing that something off. Oh, people like that something I've created. I want to do this again. And I'm sure it sounded awful. I'm sure it was the worst set I could have possibly played in my entire life. The songs were really weirdly structured, I'm sure.
Yep.
And I loved every second of it.
Yep.
I loved every second of it. I still remember that feeling of like, I'm about to play, right? That anxiety that ramps up. And I think that was my first time like experiencing it in the music world. I'm like, oh no, I don't like this, but you embrace it and you roll with it. And it was probably the worst show I've ever been a part of on my part as a musician. And I wish I could relive it. I wish I could relive it completely. It was so much fun.
I'm relieved to hear you describe it as the worst show I've ever played, because there'd be something horribly wrong
if it was the other way.
Damn, that was incredible.
Show.
It is a funny thing of like, it's almost the high school crowd is almost the best and worst crowd for you to possibly play in front of, where they're all your friends, or they're familiar, or some people just you have your math class with or whatever, or it's like some degree of friend, which is perfect in the sense that you're comfortable, but also the worst of like, there's something nice about the anonymity of what I do a lot of times. Of like, this venue doesn't give a fuck about me. Most people don't know about me. They don't know a single thing about me.
I was going to see them 2 days later. And if I really messed up, like they were going to let me know.
100%.
Like they were going to let me know for sure.
That possibility seems so much greater, the possibility that I'm going to win all of them over.
100%.
Especially in the 5 minutes before you go on stage, right? There's some point the week before where your brain is playing the Disney movie version of this. Of like, they're going to carry me out of this place. Like, I'm going to be God after this.
No,
and
it was
5 minutes before, it's like, oh, fuck. I just gave her a pencil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dude, it was like that. I remember that. It was on a Friday. I want to say like that day leading up to it. I was like, oh, like I'm going to see all these people after this is done.
Yep.
But again, for better or for worse, I'm very happy I did it, you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm curious here. So I know the other two bands that I have here are Say What You Will and The Worthwhile Fight.
Yeah.
Which I believe
you dug
were the
deep.
two,
Yeah.
The two bands that got us through here. Generally like lessons that we took away from those. And I think the hard part of bands here is that, of course, they start and they end, and that is a natural life cycle here. Just to be very clear, my joke here is always like, I'm not asking who stole money from the band. Like, there's always bands end for a lot of reasons, and sometimes they're stressful. So please, let's paint everyone in a good light here.
Absolutely. Well, there's no way I could paint anybody in a bad light from those bands. They are still to this day. I talk to most of them.
Beautiful.
And if I don't, it's because they moved out of the state, kind of thing. Like some of the greatest human beings I could have been around. The Worthwhile Fight was the first band I was in after that post-hardcore project kind of fell apart.
So post-hardcore is high school and college.
That was
band?
like college. Okay. College is called Dread the Rescue. There's nothing online from them whatsoever. If you can dig deep and find something for me, I would love to listen to it.
I'll do my best.
Let me know.
I promise. Yeah.
It was one of those things where it was very much so we were just trying to do it, and it was fun. It just kind of stopped as quick as it started.
Yeah.
And I still talk to the guy that I did like dual vocals kind of with that. And I still talk to him, Brian. He's a cool person. He moved to North Carolina years ago, but every now and again we'll keep in touch. Great friend from back in the day for sure. But I remember I was bummed out when it ended. I took it really hard. And it was
a breakup. Effectively. It's a bizarre.
It was. I remember I was at my grandparents' house, upstate New York. I was laying in a bed that was way too short for me to be laying, and I was sleeping over that night. I'm like, I got to find something. So what do? Back in mid 2000, I go on Craigslist. And I go to the musician spot and I see that they're looking for a bass player for this pop punk band that's out of like Guilford, Connecticut.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, all right. I'm like, I can play bass. I'm more of a guitar player, a rhythm guitar player, but like, let me see what happens. So I did that. I went to the drummer, Jess. I went to her house in Guilford where they were holding the practice. I met the other guitarist and singer, Jared. I met Colin, who is the lead guitarist, and like we're looking for someone right now.
Sorry to interrupt quickly.
No, please.
That's also the most anonymous. Where right now, meeting someone on Craigslist right now wouldn't happen. I guess you'd go through Instagram or whatever. But at least if you did find someone on Craigslist right now, you look up their Facebook, you look up their Instagram, you have some sense. You're truly going.
I'm going for it, man.
Here.
I mean, I'm sure I vetted them a little bit. Probably not.
It sounds like you're retroactively saying, I hope I vetted them.
I hope I did. I probably didn't, if we're being honest about it. You're right. But yeah, they thankfully weren't serial killers and
that's always a
awesome people.
Yeah.
And I went there and I played, there were like 2 songs they sent me and I played them, and one of them was like, oh, try backup vocals on it once you kind of feel comfortable with it. And we did that. And I remember they're like, all right, shook hands, like, we'll see you later. And they like shut the door behind me. And I was like, oh, I didn't do good. Like, this is not a good sign.
The vibes are not strong.
I was like, they were so nice, so polite, but it was like, they didn't want me to stick around. Usually they want you to stick around and talk over whatever, like spitball ideas. I'm like, oh boy. Yep. And then like maybe a couple days later, like, do you want to do this? You're in. I'm like, yeah, I do. And I think for them, I learned, I didn't learn a new instrument per se, but I learned how to incorporate bass as, the backbone of a lot of the rhythm section into these songs. The other guitarists that were in there loved to move around, so I really got to like have fun with the stage presence kind of thing. And eventually what happened was the singer who played guitar moved to just singing. And I was like, I'd love to play rhythm guitar for this. And they moved me to guitar, and then we found another bass player, Nick, who was fantastic. And then, Nick saw his way through, and then Christine joined. And then the drummer left, and then Chris joined. And those were my two still good friends that we made Say What You Will with eventually. So eventually, the Worthwhile Fight kind of tapered off. We did a few little mini tours here and there. It was a ton of fun. Again, loved everything they were doing. We all kind of wanted to take a different route, I think, musically with some stuff. I wanted to go back to kind of like, not heavier stuff, but kind of almost like that, like 4 Year Strong kind of style thing I was doing. Like if I could mix like 4 Year Strong with State Champs, like make a heavy State Champs, I was going to be in heaven. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So, we all kind of fizzled in one way or another. And everybody just, amicably were like, we're going to just kind of do our own thing. And then we brought it back for a little bit. It just didn't work out. We played a final show and we were all good to go. And we all went on to different projects. And then Say What You Will becomes a thing. And, it's with Chris and Christine on drums and bass, who, again, I've known for a while. We got another guitarist, and we got Ethan, who I knew his brother. I knew him, but I knew his brother better because we're closer in age. And I remember one time years ago when I was in Dread the Rescue, we were trying to find drummers. We were working with this other kid, Colin, who was Ethan's brother, on drums. And he's like, hey, my brother loves to sing. Could he come down and sing a song? And he came down and sang a Mayday Parade song. And he was great. As a kid, he was fantastic. I'm like, that's awesome. And it just didn't kind of pan out at that point. But I remember I was texting a friend of mine who I worked with. I was like, and this other singer, Ethan, was a mutual friend of ours. And I was like, yeah, I'm looking for someone. He's like, oh, he lived in Florida. He came back to Connecticut. You should hit him up. And I was like, okay. And immediately he's like, yeah, dude, I would love to do it. And it just all fell into place perfectly. Yep. And it was so much fun. I was in that band for many years. Went through a couple lineup changes here and there. Nothing too drastic, but it happens in the scene. And we played a bunch of out-of-state shows, and we had a really good run at it, and it was a ton of fun. And I think with that band, I learned how to do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Tried my hand at some advertising stuff, come up with ideas, not to the level of Mark, obviously, but come up with ideas for music videos. This guy's a god. And just really try and interpret how to get music in front of people that normally wouldn't have it in front of them. And I don't think I was crazy successful on it, but I think I was able to get the touring thing underway. And I booked, I learned how to book tours and how to book shows out of state and what those emails even look like, just the logistics of stuff that no one teaches you. And I'm very, very grateful for having been a part of that, because now I can hopefully take some of these things I've learned and put them to work elsewhere. And, it was, unfortunately, it ended, like you said, breakups. Like the band broke up. We played the Shoreline Festival 2 years ago was our last time playing a show together.
Shout out TJ.
TJ's the man, dude. Love TJ. And we released a final song, and we just kind of said, okay, we're good for right now. And, we still all talk to each other. The other guitarist, Brian, who eventually joined, is still one of my best friends. I talk to him very frequently. Chris is always around. I see him in his bands too. And, I know Christine's doing another project now, and Ethan is playing a lot of local bars and writing his own music.
Cool.
Just himself at this point, and it sounds awesome. Like, he's crushing it. So everyone did something that they love. And I think, in the moment, I was really upset that it wasn't going to be around anymore. But we all moved on to something that we care very much about. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what matters.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the rare, we all are happy with how this thing ended kind of band stories here. Any crazy travel stories you mentioned in the tours? And I assume, booking tours is always hit or miss here. There's always going to be somewhere that you showed up and went, fuck, there's not even a roof on this building.
Dude, there were, I'm not going to say the name of one venue because we're going to be playing there again. And I think it's a little different, but there was a place that we went to where it was very much like in the basement, under, I want to say under like a French restaurant or something like that. And it was just like, it looked like a scene out of Saw. And I was like, oh, we're all going to die. But that was interesting. I think the craziest thing that happened was we played Philly with the Worthwhile Fight. This particular one happened. We played Philly, and we stayed in New Jersey at a hotel because it was just, we didn't want to stay in the van. We were tired and just shot at that point. It was just easier. And it was far enough away where it was like, it didn't cost as much as staying in the city. And we went and did, like, we're all big Wonder Years fans. So we went to like Melrose Diner, and like we went to like all these different things that pop up in the songs. And we start getting like notifications on our phone. There's going to be like a tornado warning. And we're like, like whatever, we'll be fine.
Tornado, smornado.
Yeah, who needs it? We're gonna be okay. We can defeat anything.
We're from New England.
Yeah, we're fine. And we start driving. I don't know the name of the bridge, but there's a bridge between like Philly and Jersey from my recollection. I could be dead wrong.
That's fine.
But regardless, we're driving over the bridge.
I'm with you, yeah. I don't know,
and it's just like one side of the sky is like this like ghostly white gray and the other side's pitch black, and they just merge and just the wind starts picking up. And I don't think I was driving. I think our singer was driving. And I just remember our bass player, Nick, who he's this like pretty fit, big dude, like not tough guy, but like has the appearance of like he's got it all together. And I look at him and he looks like he's about to cry and he's just ghost white, just holding on to like whatever he could hold on to as hard as he could. And he's like, dude, drive fast. We got to get there. Why are we taking so long? Get over the bridge. I think he saw like his life flash before his eyes. And it was easily probably one of the freakiest moments. And when we got to the hotel, they wouldn't let us go to our rooms. We had to all stay in the lobby together till this passed. So it was very serious, apparently. And we had no idea that it was like as devastating as it was supposed to be. Thankfully, I think everybody was fine. I don't think it touched down or anything like that. It kind of went over. But like, it was a bad thing to get stuck there. We're like, whatever, we'll be fine. And it just, thank God we were.
That is youth and life on the road. Both exemplified very perfectly in one story. Of just, some of the shit you get yourself caught in. Both are being young and dumb. And by being on the road, it just, I don't know. There's also kind of no other option here. Like when you're in that scenario on the road, it's like, well, no, we have to get to Philly.
We have to. There's no. And like, granted, it was like an off day. We were just kind of hanging around and we were like, we should have just went back sooner, but we
as an adult, like, what's the worst thing that we're going to miss our $4 guarantee?
Exactly.
And there is no downside here.
No,
but in the moment, it's life or death.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, what were you thinking?
Beautiful. We have flown through most of our hour here. One last completely off-topic tangent here that I want to touch on that I found in my deep diving here. You were on an episode of House Hunters.
Oh my God! Yes, I was.
I guess I don't watch a ton of House Hunters.
Yeah,
my family watches it religiously, and so it's one of those things that growing up, I feel like I've seen every episode.
Of course.
What I learned is that you were on season 252, episode 11, and so what I didn't realize, like, I think I've seen every episode. I've not seen 252 seasons of House. That is far more House Hunters than I knew ever could possibly exist.
It's probably far more than needs to exist, if we're being honest. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle here. I guess I tried to find the episode and I couldn't find it without going through a paywall. And I was like, I'm not gonna. Last night I was like, I'm not gonna pay $10.
I can send it to you if you want it. I'd be happy if you really want to watch it.
I was curious. I guess my first question is like, did you stay in the house that you bought on the show?
Yes, we still live there.
Okay,
we still live there. Yeah.
And if that's doxing, you can also take that question out.
That's all. You're good. You're good.
I don't know how much they do to conceal where these things are.
They don't say addresses or anything like that. If you're it's
cool.
Fine.
What is the motivation to go on the show? I assume that there is some appearance money that you get out of it, but I assume that money is negligible in the context of all the other work that goes into this and all the invasions of privacies of them coming in. And like, I know production, and I'm sure that they say, oh, we're just going to come film you in your home. And the next thing you know, there's 40 people and 10 trucks and 18 cameras, and you're going, okay, this wasn't worth the $500 or whatever the number was. But what is the motivation to go on the show?
So it was one of those things where we were just kind of like, could we pull this off?
Sure.
Is really what it came down to. So Erica, my fiance, and I were like, we were in the process of buying a house, and our real estate agent, Vicky, was like, hey, she heard us kind of not bickering, but talking like, I like this, you like that. Yeah. Like when we were in one of the homes we were looking at, and she's like, do you want to be on House Hunters? I was like, what are you talking about? And she explained that they had reached out to her. She was on a show that they produced prior. And she's like, do you want to give it a try? So we did a casting call. Like, it was a Zoom thing, not thinking it was going to be much of anything. Basic questions, talk to each other about this, talk to each other about that. And we were like, okay, like there's no chance that we make it past this stage.
You're not
there's
crazy
no
enough.
chance. Yeah. I was like, we're not arguing. We're not like at each other's. There's no chance we're making it past this. And the woman thanked. She's like, we'll be in touch. I was like, all right. And then we hung up, and I looked at Eric. I'm like, at least we tried. Like, that's a cool, we could say we auditioned for it. Like, it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
And like, time went by, weeks went by, not hearing anything. And I was like, all right, like,
oh, the beep's outside. Okay, yeah. Sorry, there's a truck beeping outside. I didn't know if we were dying or what the hell was happening here. Yeah, my bad.
It's House Hunters coming for us.
You went through the casting process. You reach out. You're like, it'll be a fun adventure, whatever.
And then eventually they hit us back. They're like, hey, I'm your production agent for the show or whatever it was. I'm like, what? Like we scheduled the filming, and I was very surprised it wasn't that big of a crew. I think that was the biggest shock. It was like 4 or 5 people maybe. Okay. You had 2 cameras, sound guy, director, and then like someone to kind of help with all the other things in between. And we actually shifted directors halfway through because the other person got on assignment for something else. So it was interesting to see that side of it. It was like 10 to 12 hour days. They were long days of filming. 10 to 12 hours. It was broken up. We did like 3 and then we did 4, whatever it turned out to be. I forget, but it was chunked out a little bit, but it was interesting. It was not, I mean, we did not make really anything off of it after taxes. It was very similar to what you said before for what the work was. And I think, motivation to do it was, could we do it? And then when we were like halfway through, we looked at each other like, this is a lot. This is a lot for 22 minutes after commercials of television. This is insane. Would I ever do it again? Probably, because I thought it was a cool experience. But only if I had like this immense amount of time that I didn't have to take off from work and like didn't have to neglect music, so whatever. But it was, my son's forever ingrained in TV as an 8-month-old, which is really cool. When I do fun facts with my students, I'm like, I was on an episode of House, and it's like, no, you weren't. And then I get to show them if they want to see it, kind of thing. So it was unique. I don't know if it's my shining moment that I was on it, but it was fun to do. It was cool.
Similar to the first high school show. It's like, let's hope that Big on House Owners wasn't the peak. Do you feel like you were portrayed like honestly and accurately?
No.
Okay, that's the other piece of it. Where, of course, they need you to argue. They need some TV, because if you guys just sit down and go, I want a living room, and they go, I want an island kitchen. Who gives a fuck?
Nobody cares. So they very much so told me they were going to paint me as like the cheapskate.
Okay.
Like they were very upfront. They're like, she's going to say she wants all this stuff, and you're going to fight against it a little bit. I'm like, okay. So like it was awful and hysterical at the same time, because it wasn't me. Like we truly did agree on like 90% of what we were looking for in a house. And I will never forget. I forget if Erica told me or if it was one of my friends. Somebody told me that there were people live tweeting the episode just talking smack about me.
Of course,
like, is this guy going to do anything? He doesn't want to help out around. I was like, dude, like you're reading into this. So of course I get like sensitive and defensive about it. It was just such a silly thing to experience,
That's tough. I think that's the part of it that I hope in good faith they give you some heads up of like, hey, just so you know, like we're going to make a TV show out of you. But I don't think that people are really prepared for that. And this is something that like, of course I make the clips for this. That beeping just keeps getting louder, and I'm going to go talk to the driver.
Where they are.
They've got to be like right outside.
They're coming right into the door.
I would go close the window, but we're almost done here, and I don't care enough. I'm just laughing like someone's driving their car down the highway, being like, what is
literally
losing their mind. So to that person, I apologize. It's on my end, not your end. You're okay.
You're all
your life's
good.
okay.
No one's chasing
the hurricane or tornado.
Exactly. You're all right.
But I think with those shows, it's like they have to make a TV show, and I hope that there was some. I guess maybe the simple question is like, was there some preface? Like you said that they said they were gonna like, hey, we're gonna make you a cheapskate. Like they gave you some.
Like it was kind of in jest. It wasn't like, hey, you're gonna be the bad guy. Like it's a very innocent TV show, right? And I mean, they definitely Frankenstein some audio clips together here and there and stuff like that. To make it sound worse.
I do a lot of interviews, and of course the podcast is one iteration of this, but a lot of for videos when I'm making a video, I work with a production company that does concerts for colleges.
Okay.
And so a lot of what I do is telling the story from the student perspective, like, we worked hard to make this. It's so great to have this event on our school because it brings people together. It's nice to blow off steam around finals, like these stories. And so both making clips for the podcast and more so for making clips for them, it's like, I'm boiling down 5 minutes into 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And I like to joke that I use my powers for good. I'm only going to make you sound smarter and better and funnier and more articulate. And like, I'm going to take out the likes and the ums and the boring tangents, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make you as powerful as possible.
Yeah.
I'm very aware as I make this, it's like, oh, I fully see how the reality TV shows, the MTVs of the world are able to flip these things and like make, because I'm, occasionally, and I'm speaking more of the college stuff here, it's like once in a while I'll get a freshman who's just camera shy and not the most articulate because they're 18 and no 18-year-old is great. Most of them aren't great. I am able to polish them into someone who's a presidential speaker.
There you go.
And it's like, I'm very aware that if I could take this and make it this, then someone who works for MTV who's done this for 40 years can turn me into the worst villain mankind has ever seen.
Evil human being that's ever existed.
Especially when we're living in a house together for a week. It's like, I always say some dumb shit and I don't mean it. I might be making fun of myself in this moment. But if you clip that out of context to take out the part of me laughing, then I'm just saying a crazy thing that makes no sense here. And it's one of those, like, I think Going House Hunters is like a neutral example, right? It's not the beach house kind of show they're talking about.
Yeah.
But they do need to make a TV show, and if they can make you look crazy, that's a better TV show.
100%. I mean, I think they didn't go over the top, which I was very thankful for, because we didn't get to see the episode beforehand. We saw it the night it came out.
That's
so we're
wild.
like, we're sitting there like, please don't make us look awful.
Yeah.
But it was a cool experience. But yeah, they definitely did their fair share of Frankensteining a couple things together here and there. Again, it's supposed TV needs to be fun to watch, right? So I get it, but to that guy that was talking to me, talking about me on Twitter, man, still hurts. And that still hurts.
Yeah, sorry, that's exactly. I forgot. I lost my point, but that's exactly what I was going. It's like, to that guy, it's like that person is consuming that as like, this is a real guy.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, no, the person on TV is not a real person, even though you are real. You're tangibly real.
Yes.
The iteration of you that is being broadcast is not a real person. You're talking about some scum, and it's it's tough.
It's funny,
and
man.
I think that's something that, like, it would be very hard to be prepared for, especially if, like, it's hard to appreciate how big the reach of House Hunters is. And it's one of those things of, like, it's a household name, but like, who tweet? No one. There's no way.
Dude,
and it's like,
I did not think at all that there was going to be a live tweeter for House Hunters of all things. But boy, was I wrong.
Beautiful. Well, I guess all press is good press.
Hey, I'll take it.
Hey, if you watch House Hunters, they're on Anthms now.
there we go.
Go watch the new video. Go watch the new EP. Beautiful. Yes. The new EP comes out October 17th. Excuse me. The new Anthms EP is called Does It Ever Get Better? It'll be streaming everywhere. I assume that there's more to come between now and then, and I will not force your hand to say anything here. But looking at some Instagram stories, it looks like you guys have been a little busy in the last couple of days here. So I'm excited to see all that comes out of here. The new EP is happening. The show that I also should have mentioned right there is a small town music festival in Danielson, Connecticut, October 11th. Tickets are free, which I don't think I said up front, so I absolutely should have mentioned that piece, because that is the most important piece of all.
It's a great piece, absolutely.
in this. Beautiful. Shane, where can people find you online? Where can they tell you that you did great? Where can they find the episode of House Hunters? Yes, give us the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So the episode of House Hunters is behind a paywall. If anybody wants it, maybe I'll send it to you.
No. Yeah.
But,
where can you find you online? Yeah,
you can find me anything kind of Anthms. Just type in Anthms. You'll find everything we're doing right there. You'll find me commenting on a lot of stuff because I'm very proud of it, and you could always find me through there. But 100%, just anything going on with Anthms. If you like what you hear, we're going to try and make more of it. So we're having a good time. We're enjoying the process, and
beautiful.
We hope that everybody enjoys listening to it as well.
I'm sure they will. I also am a fan of everything you guys have put out so far, everything that the guys have put out. And yes, I'm excited to hear your chapter and your addition to it.
Thank you.
Of course, I love the previous members of Anthms as well. But
yes,
I'm a big fan of you right now. I'm a big fan of TJ. I'm a big fan of Dante and Mark. Like, it seems like there's a great family here blossoming, and I'm excited to see what the next chapter brings us here. We done did it. Episode 105 from everyone with Shane Emery. Leave a like, leave a comment. I hate asking for those things, but it does help the show. It is a small enough show that your single like does actually fucking matter, which is still kind of a bummer, but hey, we're growing. It's all right. That's life. Yes. Have a great life. We'll talk next week. Bye, friends.